Oh, hi guys. Blake here today with Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on beautiful upper Lake Taneycomo. It is Sunday, November the 21st, and I'm going to do the one cast for you today. So today I've boated up here, starting right above the tennis court on the north bank. I brought two things with me today. I've got a fly rod rigged with some scuds, and I've got a 1/32 ounce jig. But we're going to start off with the fly rod here. This is a 5-weight fly rod, 9 foot. I've got 5X 9-foot leader, and then I've tied on 6X tippet to the front of that, lead down to my two scuds. I've got a size 14 tan scud there and a size 16 gray scud on the bottom, and I've got that below a #1 split shot. About 8 inches between my scuds, about 12 inches from the weight to the first scud. And then I'm going to wind up setting this just a little deeper than I got it. I'm going to set it about 9.5 or 10 foot. They are running running a half unit, 35 megawatts, so just a tiny bit more than a half unit. They're actually, this is what they were supposed to do all of yesterday, and they never ran any water yesterday. But they've kind of got the same schedule out today as they did yesterday. We're supposed to have 35 megawatts pretty much all day, with a little surge later to 70, and then back to 35 for the rest of the night. So something a little different. Excuse me. It's been a while since I got to drift under an indicator with some scuds. This is a nice flow for it. But essentially, you know, the less water that they're running, so half unit being pretty minimal, the closer together I'll put my scuds. And then the smaller amount of weight that I'll use. And the heavier the flows, generally the farther apart I'll put my scuds underneath the rig. And the heavier weight you would use. So I got one of the small airlock indicators on there right now. And right now I'm just kind of, I didn't do any practice drifts before I started, but I'm hoping that that amount of weight is the amount that I need, because you need to see the indicator every once in a while where you know that that weight is hitting the bottom, and you'll see that by your indicator kind of ticking every once in a while. If it's not doing that, you probably don't have quite enough weight to get to the bottom, but I am starting to see it tick a couple times here, so that's good. Obviously vice versa, if you have too much weight on there and your bobber just keeps getting pulled back, you need to dial back and take some weight off. haven't got to talk to anybody today on fishing reports. We had some people fishing off the dock. They said it was kind of slow. And I passed one boat on my way up here that said that they hadn't really caught anything yet. So the only fishing report I do have is that last night, a friend of mine, DJ, he brought his daughter out and we went and waded at the dam last night. We started down below rebar hole, kind of getting close to big hole. I was fishing a black mega worm under a lighted indicator. DJ was fishing a black woolly bugger, and his daughter was fishing a Signature Series jerkbait, and we all three caught fish. The bite was pretty decent, and I seem to be taking all three of those things, so they weren't too picky. Oh, and that reminds me, I talked to Mario and Cal Mansky were out last night up at the dam. They were down by the boat ramp, and he said they did pretty good, and they caught a few browns down that direction. So good reports for last night's fishing. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say no fish on the first cast. I want to pull in, make sure I'm not picking up a bunch of moss. Just a little bit. Just enough to scare the fish away. Kinda got a wind blowing the boat back upstream, so I'm gonna use my trolling motor to push myself downstream, keep that. Ideally, you want to keep that indicator drifting right even with where you cast it. I know the egg pattern's been working really good. I really didn't think about it when I was rigging it up, but I probably should have put a small egg on the back end of this with how well the egg has been working with the water flowing. Pretty shallow. I think I'm gonna scoot out in the middle a little bit more here. Might even have to face the nose of the boat downstream here. Get a better drift going. When the water's running this slow, I do prefer to throw something underneath an indicator versus trying to drag it on a spin cast rod. a drift rig. It's quickly looking like I might be going to a jig here. It's really hard to guess everything perfectly whenever you're drifting something underneath an indicator and you haven't done it in a while. If I had time to do a couple drifts, I would just play around with the size of the scud and the amount of weight. Oh, that was a hit. Darn it. Something else I like to do when I am drifting, something under an indicator, is try to keep as little line on the water as possible. So you can kind of pull in your slack and you can hold your rod tip up in kind of 9 or 10 o'clock position, and that'll leave less room for error whenever you go to set the hook. I wasn't quite paying attention on that one. Pull it in and just make sure I don't have moss again. And I do. So a few things here. Each time I pulled it up, I've had a decent amount of moss, and so my remedy for that would be either put on maybe a smaller split shot, or take the split shot and move it a little closer to the scuds. Sometimes whenever it's a little closer, you can the scuds won't have as much time to swing down and hit the moss. Stay moss free that time, so that's good. I'm starting to feel pretty jiggy here. I'm gonna give this one more cast. It's been a while since we had a day where they were running a consistent amount of water. I know that the jig fishing can be pretty good when they do that, especially when the flows aren't crazy fast. So I think I'm gonna switch to a jig here in a second. Yep, it's jig time. Alright, so I've got 2-pound line here on this whole reel, and a 1/32 ounce sculpin and ginger jig with a sculpin head. This line is the 2-pound Maxima, and the reel is a Presidential 20, which is I think that's the smallest size they make in the Presidential. This is a light action rod, and your light action with the 2-pound test is kind of your best bet whenever you want to throw something as small as a 1/32 ounce jig. I've even thrown as small as 50th ounce jig on this setup. It doesn't cast quite as far, but you can still work it. Seeing a little bit of moss turning up in the water, thinking that maybe they have surged the water early and it might be going a little faster now. They're calling for a chance of rain today, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I think it might just stay cloudy. look like the fish might win today. You can tell that Table Rock is definitely working on turning over here. The water turbidity is pretty high. Lots of silt in the water. I'm gonna scoot across back to the bluff side here. Well, a couple more casts and I'm gonna have to say the fish might win today. We are just now at the top side of the Narrows. And you know, Levi told me he caught a couple fish this morning off the dock with a sculpin and ginger with an orange head. And this might be one of those days where the orange headed jig would be a better option. You know, another thing that I probably should have tried today was working a jerkbait along the bank. Anytime you got some consistent flowing water, that is another great option. I think this is my last cast. Okay, well, the fish have defeated me today, but we thank you guys for watching. Like and share us on Facebook, and we'll get out here and do it again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.